My feed. I think we are officially live. My apologies for everyone who has been waiting. We are actually 10 minutes late, but not because we were running late. I was having some technical difficulties with getting everything hooked up and ready to go. But we are officially live. So, Lauren, let me go ahead and add you on the social profiles. And if everyone wouldn't mind just giving us about 2 more minutes, we will get started. And again, we appreciate your patience. I definitely can tell you it will be well worth it. So give us about 1 or 2 more minutes while we finish up everything. All right. All right. Edit posts. All right. All right, Lauren. So if you would do me a favor and just check your Facebook profile.
Okay.
All right, so you should be good on Facebook. You should be good on LinkedIn. Let me check Twitter, and we'll be good to go.
On my Facebook profile, tell me. Okay, I see the LinkedIn tag on the Facebook. Okay, I see it. Hang tight. That works perfectly.
All right, and then it looks like, all right, so on Twitter, it looks like you'll just have to go to my profile and retweet it. And then from there, we're good to go.
Okay, let me do
All
that.
right, good to go?
1 second.
All right, no problem, no problem. And to everyone else, I hope you all are having a wonderful. I believe today is Monday. It's been such a crazy day. I'm out on the East Coast, and if you've seen the news, I guess they've been covering it on the news. But we got dumped with a ton of snow yesterday, I believe it was, and so daycare was closed today. So I was on daddy duty all day today. But we're excited to be here and to be transitioning into the next phase of the evening. So Lauren is back. I take that we're good to go, Lauren.
We are good to go.
All right, perfect. So welcome everyone to another edition of a live recording of Wealth Talk Tuesdays. Today we have a very special guest. We have the bilingual realtor and the new agent coach. But don't let the title fool you. She definitely has a lot of talents and gifts, and she's going to talk to us about that and in just a second. So let me give you a little bit of her bio. She sent over quite an extensive bio, so I'm gonna try to get through it. But I love the fact that one, she has a bio. Two, she sent it over. A lot of times when we are interviewing folks, they don't always have a bio, and it's important that as you build your profile, as you build your personal brand, two of the staples that you need a bio and you need a headshot. Those are very critical and very important. So anyway, with that said, we have Lauren G. Levins, who is a native of Mobile, Alabama. She's a 2003 graduate of the University of Alabama with a dual Bachelor of Arts degree in International Relations and a Bachelor of Arts in Spanish. And because of her obedience to nurture the gifts that God blessed her with, and her ability to communicate in other languages, she has been afforded the opportunity to live in 3 countries and travel to over 10 for extended periods of time. She also holds a Master of Science degree in a public administration and a Master of Science degree in Spanish education and instructional leadership. All right. Now the girl is educated. I'm telling you, I'm just getting started. Prior to becoming a full-time realtor in the Metro Atlanta area, Lauren was a classroom educator, teaching Spanish for over 11 years, serving middle and high school students. And while educating tomorrow's youth, she obtained her real estate license in the state of Alabama. And in 2018, she transitioned to Atlanta for a professional career move in the field of education technology. And she also ventured into a new world where she made sure to reciprocate her license in the state of Georgia to continue her pursuit of a full-time career in real estate. And we don't double back on that, y'all, but y'all got to see she been working. She got education, she got degrees, she's licensed in multiple states, she speaks multiple languages, she has been around the world. And again, I'm just getting started. I got a little bit more to go. So in the middle of the corona, I'm telling you, so in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic, Lauren became a full-time realtor. But prior to this time frame, she continued to juggle both a full-time job and pursue her goal of becoming a full-time realtor. Lauren's two favorite aspects of being a realtor is the ability to educate so many on the home purchasing process, and she aims to ensure that her processes are seamless and a very unique and memorable experience for her clients. Closing day, of course, is the day that every realtor looks forward to, but Lauren enjoys it because it affords her the opportunity to ensure that her clients have an unforgettable and stellar experience. I have to tell y'all, I had to take a couple of principles from this bio. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was reading this bio the other day. I was like, all right, I see some principles I'm gonna have to pull out and apply to my game. I gotta up my game. All right, so being a former and natural born educator, it should come as no surprise that Lauren has added the title of author to her name. She is the author of the Home Buyer series, What's the Real About Real Estate, and the Financial Rundown. And the first installment targets the overall home buying process for those who are new to the home purchase process and for those who have been homeowners for a while, but the process has changed. And the second installment provides a complete rundown of the area in terms of the process that concerns and plagues most, which is the financial side of the home buying process. And then most recently, she also decided to put her curriculum development and writing skills to use to create the New Agent Blueprint course. She created this course because 86% of new agents leave the industry within the first year of being licensed. After doing research and having many conversations, she came to realize that there was a major gap between being licensed in the first transaction and beyond. And Lauren took her experience from the education sector and she applied it in this new course that offers scaffolded and uniquely designed curriculum and engaging activities to take new agents from frustration and defeat to excitement and success. And finally, her goal has been and continues to be to inspire others to pursue and accomplish their dreams, whatever they may be, and to do it with vibrant spirits and full of joy, as we only have one life to live. Live life with no regrets and all of prosperity. I think the show is over. So I think the show is over. That's it, folks. All right. We'll see you next.
We're done. We'll see you next week.
We'll see you next time. But definitely give a virtual round of applause for our guest tonight, Lauren Levins. And please, Lauren, take a minute to, I know we covered a lot, but take a minute to welcome the people and tell us a little bit about yourself that we may not know.
I want to say the bio said it all. But no, I really want to just say thank you guys for tuning in. Like, super excited to be here with you all tonight. What don't you know about me? I'm a dog mom. I have a Cane Corso, and she shows up on my social media platforms every now and then, and everybody goes crazy over her. So if you hear somebody barking in the background, it's probably her because she loves attention from me, and she's not getting it right now. So. Oh, here's a fun fact. I have a fun fact for you. Okay. So if you know anything about Mobile, Alabama, it is the original home of Mardi Gras, despite what everybody thinks. It is not New Orleans. It is Mobile. It originated in Mobile. And I am the 2009 queen of Mardi Gras, which is a huge deal in Mobile. So I'm not telling y'all to Google me, but if you Googled me,
all right.
That's one of the fun facts that you'll find out.
Okay, that is actually an interesting fact. I did not know that. So Mobile, of all places, is the origination of Mardi Gras in the States. That's interesting. That's like and we'll talk about this, some of the traveling experiences, but that's like Carnival in Brazil. You have
Mm-hmm.
Carnival all along the Caribbean. You
Mm-hmm.
have Carnival in Canada, and I'm not sure. I think Carnival, I'm pretty sure it started in Brazil. The
Mm-hmm.
celebration in Brazil is just on a whole nother level. I had the opportunity to go some years back, and it's just an amazing, amazing experience. But that's an interesting fact. And on top of that, you were the Mardi Gras Queen of 2009. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
awesome.
Yep. I'm an old head now. So when I go back,
He said,
it's
"I'm
a
an
little
OG."
different, but
It's all
that's
right,
all right.
but you know that you got that wisdom and that experience, right?
Yeah.
Schooling them on the game, schooling them
Yeah.
on the game. So we got a lot to unpack, and fortunately we started a little late, but if anybody can hang on, maybe Lauren will give us an extra 5 minutes so we could try to cover that a little bit. But tonight we're going to talk about a couple things. One, we're going to talk about the entrepreneur's journey, and we're also going to talk about some of the things that she's doing now. But I wanted to start off just asking you, what was kind of your first experience with entrepreneurship? Did you always feel like you were going to be an entrepreneur? What was the start of your entrepreneurship journey like?
That's an interesting question. So to answer, I did not think I was always going to be an entrepreneur. I can recall when I was a little kid, I would actually play as though I was a teacher. Kid you not, have no idea why, because when I was young, I would always tell my parents I want to be a lawyer. Well,
Mm,
for probably about the first 7 or 8 years, it was doctor, and then it was lawyer from there on out. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a lawyer, and it never changed.
hmm
And then, but I used to play as though I was a teacher, not a lawyer, which was really interesting when I sit back and think about it. And so, no, I was, part of that generation where it's you go from high school to college. That was the trend. Well, what I didn't realize is that while I was in college, the game was changing. It
mm,
was transitioning from, oh, you have a degree, that's great. It doesn't matter anymore, is what was about to incur, because it literally went from get your bachelor's degree and you're going to make money to, oh, you need a master's degree. But then it turned into everybody was getting a master's degree.
mm,
So it was like, oh, okay, so you have a master's degree, big deal. But don't just go and jump and get a PhD, because nobody's going to pay you for the PhD, because probably a couple of years after I graduated from college is when the economy crashed,
mm,
and it changed everything, right? It completely changed everything that was happening in our world. And so at that point, my degrees didn't mean as much. They didn't weigh as much. But what I did know is that I was supposed to go and I was supposed to get a job. I was supposed to have a job. I was supposed to be a productive citizen of society, and I was supposed to give back. And so I actually started out in higher ed. Um, and I worked in higher ed for several years. And then I transitioned from higher ed into secondary ed. And I actually fell in love with secondary ed. Don't get me wrong, I liked higher ed, but I really enjoyed probably about the first five years of teaching. I really, really enjoyed it, like heavily enjoyed it.
mm.
It didn't plague me as much. But then I started to notice along the way somewhere that I would get this anxiety. I would become really anxious when the summer was coming to an end.
Mm,
And the summer started getting shorter and shorter. And then I would get really anxious
yeah.
when it was time for us to come back from Christmas break. And I couldn't figure out exactly what it was stemming from. Why did I feel this way? What exactly was going on? And but I kept going with the flow, because you got to have a job, right? You got to be able to take care of yourself, right? So you stick with it. And then at one juncture, I'll be honest with you, I became, pretty financially well off as an educator, because it was just me. I didn't have kids. So, I had my salary from being a teacher, and then I had my salary from being a track coach. I had salary from being, yeah, I
You was
used to run
I'm
track.
gonna come
So
back. Okay, okay, all right.
from being a track coach, and then I had all these, homeschool kids who needed assistance. I had that so I had several different incomes coming in as an educator. And so I didn't feel the pinch that a lot of people feel as an educator. So that's kind of how I just stuck in that world. But then I started to say to myself, I'm meant to do something greater. this doesn't please me anymore. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be an administrator. Don't care to be a principal. If I became an administrator, it would be an assistant principal just until I can retire. And I would just go with the flow. I didn't want to work at the district level. It was like, well, what do I want to do in the education realm if I'm going to stay in this? And I could come up with nothing that gave me any type of solace, any type of comfort, nothing. And so then one of my assistant principals, this was in 2011, one of my assistant principals had his real estate license. He was an agent in Montgomery, Alabama. And he told me what his plan was, and I loved his plan. His plan included him going full-time real estate after he retired. Well, at that time, I was in my early 30s. So the last thing I was thinking about was, staying with real estate, and staying in education and then doing real estate later. I was like, nah, I want my real estate now. I want it now. I'm gonna go get it now. So I enrolled into real estate school and got my license, and didn't know what to do with it, to be quite honest with you. At that time, talking about things being virtual, nobody was doing virtual. So all of the classes and things that I needed, I could not get to those because I was still working full time. So I did nothing with it. I did nothing with it for the first year that I had it. The second year that I had it, I didn't do anything with it. And then it wasn't until probably about my third year of being a licensed agent that I actually jumped in and I got some guidance from someone. And from that point, I just kind of kept trudging, kept trying to find my way through, like, what, I'm going to get there. I'm going to weed through all of this mess here. And then boom, finally, I'm a full-time entrepreneur. But then it went even deeper for me. It was like, I don't want to just be an agent. There's more. The thought of selling houses and helping people get into homes, that's great. But there's something else that I'm missing. There's another something else that I'm supposed to do with this. And so I kept going until I came up with the new agent blueprint. And I started this entrepreneurial journey. And it was, like I said, it was not my first thought. It was not my first intention. Had no idea I was going to, get to this point. But I am really loving where I am in life right now and the decision that I made to take this step.
Wow. Woo. I'm telling you, show over. You I'm glad that was the first question because you touched on so many aspects of what makes up an entrepreneur's journey. And what I really like too is that you aren't I don't want to say a natural entrepreneur, but you weren't one of the folks that knew from day one you wanted to be an entrepreneur. And so you're able to cover the entire journey that somebody, typically goes through. And for someone who may be going through that now and not really understanding or being able to see the bigger picture or the full picture, you're able to help them see what that journey is like. And it starts off with, how you feel, with you thinking about, hey, I can feel like there's something bigger for me. There's something more for me, where I see myself. And in this current capacity, this current position, this current industry is not, is not where I see myself. And so going through those questions, going through those feelings, going through those moods, going through those emotions, all of that is important. And it's important that one, people recognize it, and then two, that they do the work to go through it, because on the opposite side of that is not putting in the work, is not answering those questions and saying, or not saying, but just by doing, staying in the same position. Right. Yeah. And then suffering for the next 5 or 10 or 20 years.
Just on the rat race wheel.
Yep, yeah. On the wheel, because you didn't, I don't want to say you didn't have enough courage, but you did not force yourself to go through this uncomfortable and unfamiliar process, right? Because entrepreneurship too is an unfamiliar process within itself.
It is a beast. It is a beast. Do you hear me? Like, yep. And I think that's, and so I'll say this. I'm also a Gemini. And if anybody knows anything about a Gemini, most people are like, oh Lord, she bipolar. Oh, they love to say that about us. But one thing that a lot of people don't realize about us is that we tend to be a little flighty. We tend to, just go with the flow, be very free spirited. And that's a blessing and a curse, especially in a world like entrepreneurship. Yep. Because what also happens is you get into this space of I'm bored. I get bored quick. You know what I'm saying? And you can't do that with entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to really zero in, and you've got to deep dive. And I'm talking about, it's layers to it. There
Yep.
are so many layers that you have to peel back and you have to go through, not just in trying to build the business, but within yourself, because it starts right here within yourself. If you cannot peel back those layers that are lying deep within, you will not get anywhere on this journey, because it is so, and can be so overwhelming. It
Mm-hmm.
really can, because it's unfamiliar territory. For those who have been doing it since they were 18, it's not the same, because at 18 you feel like you have nothing to lose. When you start to take on this journey and you're older, you know what it's like to have money, and you know what it's like to live at a certain status and a certain level, and you
Mm-hmm.
know what it's like to have a sure income coming in that you can count on. And entrepreneurship does not do that for you. Unless you go out here and get it, it is not coming to you. It really shows you what you're made of. And I thank God all the time that he put inside of me a natural determination and perseverance. I don't know what quit is. And if I quit, I feel like I failed myself. Forget failing anybody else. Forget, oh, she didn't make, no, I have a problem with quitting. I don't know what quit is. We got to get to it. I got to
Mm-hmm.
figure it out. I
Mm-hmm.
gotta grind this thing out. I gotta get the
Mm-hmm.
answers. And
Mm-hmm.
so I will definitely say, especially over these last couple of years with COVID was a gift for me.
Right.
It's been a curse too, because I'm high
Yeah.
risk. I have asthma, so I've
Mm.
had to be very distant and isolated from quite a few people that I love, from doing the things that I really love, which is traveling. I just love being around people,
Yep.
but at the same time, it's been a major blessing and development, because it allowed me the time that I needed to deep dive, where I didn't have to worry about fighting traffic. I didn't have to worry about being at this event. I didn't have to worry about going here. I didn't have to worry about no, I was able to sit down and really deep dive into this journey. I was able to really deep dive into Lauren. I was really able to focus in on what is it that Lauren is trying to what is it that God has called Lauren to accomplish in this life? What is it that he wants her to do? And so, I mean, you got to be willing to go on this journey though, Kevin. Like, you got to. You
Nah,
can't run from it.
yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, you touched on so many things that I convey this to a lot of people. I've been an entrepreneur, man, now over 11 years, and
Mm,
it's been a very, very interesting journey. And I was actually sharing this with some of my coaching clients, a couple months ago. Entrepreneurship is the most revealing and honest experience that you can go through. And I tell people, in a good way and in a bad way, but
mm.
ultimately in a good way, it will expose you to you for who you are, right?
Like, you're like, I don't even know you. Who are you?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It will expose you. It expose your weaknesses. It'll expose your strengths. But the beautiful part is, if you want to continue in that journey, you have to learn and you have to grow past what those shortcomings are, what those difficulties are. You have to learn how to reinforce those strengths. And every step of the way, you learn more and more about yourself and what you're
Mhm.
capable of. It's a really, really beautiful experience, but it can be a difficult one.
Yeah.
Definitely. So I'll back. We may bounce around a little bit because you said a lot of things I want to touch on. And one of the things you have mentioned too, with being a Gemini, you're kind of more of a free spirit. Well, I don't know, all the details of the signs. I always got to look it up to reconfirm. But I'm a Leo, and for me, for me, I'm more. I tend to be free spirited as well. And part of that free spirit, I don't always like the structure, right? Like that's why I left corporate America and went out on my own, because I didn't like the environment of working in corporate America. But a lot of the things that help you be successful as an entrepreneur are the structures and the systems and the processes. So in a way, one of my challenges over the years was, okay, how do I encapsulate that free spirit and put it in this structured environment, to benefit myself? So just one of the examples of how, you have to overcome some of your challenges. But another thing you mentioned, and I want to touch on this too, because we have a lot of educated people who may be watching, and I'm certainly one of them. I went to school, and when I went to school, it was, I'm not so much sure it was the culture of, you go straight from high school to college. I think it was because that was what, the early 2000s. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know any entrepreneurs really. I knew some hustlers,
Mm-hmm.
right? But
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really know what entrepreneurship was. So when I went off to school, it was, oh, you should go to college. It was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, right?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. So anyway, was saying that there's a whole process of education and indoctrination that you go through as a college student. And you kind of touched on some of that with, okay, you go to school, you get a job. Okay, well, now you need this degree. Oh, that degree is not nearly as valuable. So now you need this. And so as you're navigating this process as an employee, you're navigating this process as somebody who has to fit into a system. And then you get to a point where, not that the education isn't valuable, because it is, right? And the experiences and the skills and the disciplines and everything that comes with it. But now you're cast into this world where you have to unlearn a lot of ways of how you think and how you operate to now operate on this totally different side of the brain. So could you talk about maybe some of your difficulties or just some of your ideas in making that transition from, the very high educated world of life to now being more of an entrepreneur?
It has been painful. It has been so painful. I'm just gonna be honest with you. And I say that because, again, it's kind of so, okay. I come from a two-parent household. Both of
Okay.
them were college educated. I saw them go to work every day, whether they felt like it or not.
Mhm.
I saw them make sure my sister and I wanted for absolutely nothing. I saw the support and the love that they were able to give. I saw that they were able to be there for us because they didn't have to work, crazy hours or anything. But at the same time, you're right. I didn't see entrepreneurship either. Um, and so because I wasn't exposed to it, is probably why it didn't come across my brain in terms of, college and possibly pursuing real estate earlier in life. At 19, I could have had a real estate license. I didn't think about it. Um, or it could have been a situation to where I had decided not to go to college had I encountered entrepreneurship earlier. But it's been painful. It's
Yeah.
been painful to transition because, like I said, I am accustomed to that money. I know that money is coming like clockwork. I don't have to think
Mhm.
about it. I don't have to second guess it. It's going to be in my bank account, if not once a month, at least twice a month or every 2 weeks, something along that nature. Even down to the health insurance. You knew you were going to have the health insurance component there, and you didn't have to worry about that. And now what I've come to learn is although that money was coming like clockwork, that money was limited.
Mm.
That they told me what I was worth, what my education was worth, all that time I had put into school. They told me what my skill set was worth. They told me what my talent and my gifts from God were worth. And I'm sorry, I'm worth more than that.
Mhm.
What God has called me to do and what he has placed inside of me is worth more than what you were offering me. I'll break it down to you. So, and this is when it really hit the fan for me. As an educator, as a classroom educator with 5 degrees, okay, I was making, I think the highest I got to was $65,000.
Yep.
And after taxes, let me go gut punch some people real quick, including, because it gut punched me when I realized that after taxes, I was bringing home maybe $48,000 a year.
Mhm.
Kevin, I had 5 degrees.
I got the 5 degrees, yeah. And maybe it may be a student loan or two behind it, maybe.
Do you feel me? And so I'm
Hmm.
sitting up here like, and I was blessed enough to where, um, had some scholarships. So, it wasn't a situation to where I'm just in deep, deep, deep debt like some people are with student loans. But that doesn't mean I don't have them. But 48, you told me that teaching tomorrow's future, I was only worth $48,000 a year. I said, well, if I can't go out here and make $48,000 a year on my own, then something just is not right. Like I'm just not doing
Said if I
something
can't.
right in this life. So bye bye. I can't take and it wasn't the kids. It's the system. It's the system. And I was like, I just can't do it. I have to go. And so I was like, I can make $48,000 a year. I can make $65,000 a year. I can make. So wait, you telling me I really can be a multimillionaire? You telling me there really is no cap as to what I can make? All I have to do is follow this plan, actually put a plan together, follow this plan, go out here and do the work, the same work that I was doing for somebody else from 7:30 in the morning until 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening, sometimes maybe 10, if I was supporting extracurricular activity. You telling me I can't take that same time and put it over here and get myself out of this rat race and this limited living? Come on now. I had to do it.
Yeah.
But it was a painful shift because my mind was programmed one way. My mind is programmed to, I can always default back to these degrees. I can go try this. If it don't work, I can always go back to the education sector. If it doesn't work, I can always go back to higher ed. If it doesn't work, no worries. I have this degree to go with that. I can go work for the FBI. I can go work for the CIA. I can go do something with the government. I always have a fallback. I had to shift my mind out of thinking about the fallback. And it took time. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen immediately because you decide you're going to be an entrepreneur. Because being an entrepreneur punches you in the gut so hard that you don't have a choice. Your mind is going to revert back to that comfort zone. You have to shift yourself and fight. You literally have to fight to get yourself out of reverting back to your comfort zone. Otherwise, you will never get off of the ground in entrepreneurship.
Whew. Yeah. I actually I actually came up with a course idea, or maybe just an ebook. I might just do an ebook. But listening to what you said, is absolutely true. And there's a lot of business and entrepreneurship to me is like it's a science, right? And they're just like any other subject. You have to study, you have to learn, you have to apply, and then over time you gain a higher and higher level of mastery over entrepreneurship. So as I'm listening to you, that's some of the thoughts that are coming in my mind. And I'm like, boom, all right, I got it. But I'm gonna tie that into something that you said. Now you talked a lot about value, worth, and getting to a point where you are able to gauge at least gauge your own worth on a higher level, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not allow a job to determine what your worth is. It is that by itself is a journey and a challenge, because when we especially if you're college educated, you're in corporate America, your level of ego, your level of confidence, your level of self-worth as a person
Yeah.
gets tied to that salary,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It does. Whether you have 40,000, 65,000, or 200,000 a year, the more that you're on salary, the bigger, right? The bigger your ego
Your
gets.
chest
But
sticks out. Yeah.
even still, if you never get to a point of understanding the power of leverage and entrepreneurship, you'll never really fully capitalize or be able to capitalize on the unlimited potential, right? The uncapped potential that you have for earnings that exists within your mind. And one of the most powerful things for us, me and Lauren, because me and Lauren we met through a coaching program that teaches us and helps empower us to fully capitalize on our intellect, right? So we're at a point where we've been on a journey. She's been on her journey, I've been on mine, but we've gotten to a point where we understand the value of the thoughts and the ideas that exist in our mind, right? That's a very powerful position to be in, and not just powerful, but it really puts you in alignment with understanding the potential of your self-worth, right?
Absolutely.
So even as a realtor, your income is unlimited, right? There's no limit. You could graduate, you could build teams, you could have offices all around the country, you could build a globe, you could do whatever you want. It's unlimited. But even before you become a realtor, the value that exists in your mind is unlimited.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
unlimited. So,
Yeah.
I could go on and on. You got me. You got me
No,
in.
that mindset is it. That mindset is it to everything in your life. I don't care if it's your career. I don't care if it's a personal goal. I don't care what it is. If this is not right, because again, I said it last night on my live, and I'll say it again, and I'll say it again, and I'll say it again. The Bible warns us to put on the whole armor of God, and it starts with the top of your head.
Mm,
Okay, you got to first protect your head. It warns heavily about the protection of your head. Why?
mm,
Because this is your mind. You can't do anything without this. When do they declare that you are no longer a living being? When your brain dead.
mm,
So if your mind is not set on the course that it needs to be in order for you to achieve what it is you're trying to achieve, you will never achieve it.
mm.
It just all starts here, and you have to place yourself in the right environments with the right people, with the right support system, with the right coaching, and a humbling experience. You have to place yourself in those environments in order to cultivate the mindset that you need to have in order to grow. I am such an overachiever. I was quick to say I don't need a coach. I don't need a coach. I don't need somebody to check me on what I need to do. I'm gonna do it anyway because I'm me. I get it done, honey. Let me tell you, entrepreneurship is so mean.
Mhm.
Those initial years are so mean. You need somebody who can understand what you're going through and help you to get through it because it's all mental initially. I don't care what steps you take to being great and accomplishing whatever goal you set out for that career, for that endeavor, for that year. This can halt all of that. It can stop every single thing that you think that you want to achieve, and you'll never achieve it. And you'll look back at the year thinking, what is it that I was doing? What did I do wrong? This wasn't right.
Mhm.
If this is not right, you can't do anything. I don't care what it is.
Now you're absolutely right, and that's an experience that I've been through. And as an entrepreneur, it's it can jeopardize everything that you have, and the
Mm-hmm.
process that you have to go through to get your mind right again, right, that takes time. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a whole nother conversation, but I can tell you that one of the things that was very key in helping me get my mind right was coaching,
Yeah.
right, and getting in a right environment in a community of people who operate like you do, who think like you do,
Mm-hmm.
who are going through similar things like you do. And going through that experience was what led me to want to coach other people, not because of the financial, right, adding another revenue stream,
Right.
but because I wanted to be able to use my experience to empower other people
Yeah.
going through a journey. Once you become an entrepreneur, you're already a small segment of the population,
Mm-hmm.
and you sort of, in a way, you isolate yourself,
Mm-hmm.
because you're now thinking and moving differently from
Differently.
other people. And so that entire journey, that entire conversation, you can't just have that conversation with everybody and everybody understand what you're
Mm-hmm.
going through and everybody be able to, to give you the right advice. So that was one of the inspirations for me, becoming a coach, was how to be able to provide that avenue for other entrepreneurs, because they may not have somebody else that they can talk to about whatever particular issues that they're going through. But that's
Absolutely.
important. Let's segue into that conversation a little bit, because you also decided that you wanted to get into coaching. You developed a new coaching program. So tell us a little bit about your coaching program. What made you decide to get into coaching? And yeah, let's unpack that a little bit.
Okay. So, um, you being a former educator, you would think, okay, yeah, coaching, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it wasn't the direction that I was trying to go into.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to say over the course of the last year, it really hit home for me. And I was just talking to a couple of friends of mine who are in the industry, who have joined the industry, and they were just struggling with quite a few things. And I couldn't, and there were a couple of courses, honestly, that I purchased because I wanted to make myself better in my craft. Um, forever the student. And I just wanted to learn everything I could, because if this person was doing this and they were having a little bit more success than I was, and I want to know what it is that they're doing. And if you're going to share it, then give it to me. I'll go buy it, and I'm gonna deep dive. And so as I was deep diving into that course, and as I was talking to some of these friends and these colleagues, and the struggles that they were having and the questions that they were asking, I was like, why don't they know that? Why is it no one's told them that? As I was taking this course, I was like, okay, yeah, you hit on this, and that, but you are missing a whole entire gap of people, and they are just left out here to dry. And so I started asking myself, and I was talking to my mentor, and I said, man, there's a market out here. And he was like, a market for what? I said, I'm going to create a curriculum. I'm going to create a course. He was like, on what? I said, for new agents. And he said, okay. He was like, there are plenty of brokerages out here that already have training for agents. Da, da, da. I said, nah, not like what I'm about to put together. And so he was like, well, what's different? He said, well, before you do it, why do you want to do it for new agents? And as you said in my bio, 86% of first year agents leave the industry. I kid you not. Right before we started our live, Kevin, I went to Facebook to check to make sure that everything had connected and I had been tagged and I could see the tag. And in one of the groups that I'm in, I literally saw where this one person had posted, I'm trying not to give up on real estate. I'm trying hard not to give up on real estate. And it just confirmed for me over again that what I'm doing is spot on. Yep. 86% of agents in their first year leave the industry. The question was why? When I saw that stat, I was like, that's a huge number of agents leaving the industry in the first year. Why? What is happening that we have that many people leaving our industry? And what I came to find out is no one is taking people from the vantage point of, I just got out of real estate school. What is the absolute next step? Everybody teaches people from the vantage point of, you already have your clients. They already start you with, you have clients. But that's not how real estate goes. You don't come out of real estate school with clients. There are no brokerages giving you clientele. There's nobody giving, very few brokerages even offer lead generation. And most of the time, the lead generation that they offer is not up to par. Okay. It is just not. And so you have people out here trying to figure out, how do I even set up a real estate business? What is my, what is the structure of my business supposed to look like? What is it that can anybody give me a step-by-step? What should I be doing on a daily basis? How do I even get the first client? What's the conversation? I hate networking. How do I network? What are you supposed to do with that? A business plan. Nobody ever told me I needed a business plan. A budget for what? I just got to pay these fees, but I'm tired of paying these fees because I'm not getting any clients and making any money. Well, they're multi-million dollar selling agent, producing agent. How do I get to that level? What are they doing? Okay, well, they're not telling me everything they're doing, because this is the stuff that's going on. You understand what I'm saying? And so they're frustrated, they're confused, they're hurt, they're disappointed, they're upset. Why? Because social media glamorizes real estate. It glamorizes being a realtor. Let me backtrack that. It glamorizes being a realtor. It glamorizes selling real estate. It glamorizes it on television with all of these different shows. Mm-hmm. It's just a glamour world. Everybody's walking around with their purse on their wrist. You know how the women do the purses up here on the wrist, yep, with their shades on, and they going to brunch and they meet with their friends for drinks, and that's what we're doing. But that is not. I mean, that can be a part of, but that's not being a realtor. Mm-hmm. On TV, it's, I went and showed this one house and now my client wants to put an offer in on it and we won the offer. That is not how it goes at all whatsoever. And so what was happening is people were not getting the real deal Holyfield of how you build this business and how it goes. No one was telling them what it literally takes and the amount of time it takes to go from zero to first client. Mm-hmm. And I said, I got to do it. It's too many people out here suffering. There are too many people out here not getting this information, and I got to give it to them. My goal is to change the real estate industry at the foundation. Because if you don't have a strong foundation, you're going nowhere fast. You're going to have to continue to chip away and double back and try to rebuild and pick up and try to make a living and double back and rebuild and try to make, and you never get off of what's called pipeline level. You might have a little bit of the foundation together, you got a little bit of the pipeline together, and you just keep fluctuating back and forth between the two because you don't have the right foundation. We build houses, people. We're in real estate industry, people. How does it start? You got to lay a foundation, right? Why did we go to school when we were younger? Because you needed a foundation. You weren't going to learn how to write and read and everything else at home necessarily. You had to go to school to get the foundation. You got to have a solid foundation. And the solid foundation between becoming licensed and getting your first client it's not there. And on top of that, Kevin, no one created a program that scaffolds the information. So you have all of these brokerages that have their training programs for their clients, and you just have a bunch of information that's just dropped inside of a portal, so to speak, right? Inside of the training portal. You have all of this information that's in there. Yeah, just go in there and find it. Go in there and get it. Go in there and, yeah, this is in there, but there's really nothing in there that takes you from I just got a license to my first client. It all takes it from the perspective of I already have clients. How do I write a contract? How do I show up my first property? None of that stuff is there. None of it's there. And that's a problem. And so I decided that I wanted to chip away at that. I wanted to make sure new real estate agents stay within the industry, because at some point, if we don't maintain and retain enough agents, we're going to have an issue in terms of having quality people come into our industry. That's another problem that we have. We have all these baby popcorn, what we call I'm serious.
I know.
Baby popcorn, what are we calling them now? Hobbyists. We're calling them hobbyist agents because you're doing it part-time, and they're trying to come into the fold, and it doesn't go the way they wanted to in the first couple of months, and then they're out and they're leaving, and that's it. And so they're doing that because the foundation is not set. Real estate school teaches you about the law of real estate, of selling real estate. The post-license courses teach you more about the law of selling real estate. Nobody teaches you how to build your business, and nobody teaches it to you in a format that takes you in a step-by-step process, because believe it or not, there are step-by-step processes to building a real estate career. It's just nobody's teaching it. Everybody's just giving information, but it's not strategically structured in the proper manner. And so because of my curriculum writing and development background and my teaching background, I understand and know how to set up processes for people to be able to follow successfully. I had too many students when I was a teacher. I'm teaching y'all Spanish. Y'all can barely speak English. Y'all have D's in English. You got F's in English. And then they're trying to figure out how you got an A in Spanish. Because I knew how to break it down for my babies so they could get it. Okay, you don't understand it. Let me understand how you think. Let me understand your point of view. And now let me go back and revamp this thing. Let me give y'all these steps. Let me chunk it down just a little bit more so you can understand how these dots connect. That's all. That's what's missing. And so I had to put this program together. And I'm so excited. As you can tell, I can talk about it.
No, definitely.
I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, definitely. The passion is there. And we're scheduled to go live, I believe, on the 12th on Instagram. So I want to definitely take some time when we do that IG live to dig all into the course. Some of the other stuff, I won't drop all the gems, but, talk more about all the stuff you have going on to help people in that particular space, and some of the other stuff you have going on. But definitely you can tell that the passion is there. And I think what's important, one, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, whoever is watching, if you want to go down that journey, one of the biggest nuggets I can give you is to get with the community, get with the coach, get with a mentor as soon as possible. I went through the same journey. I'm an intelligent brother. I had already been on the other side of the world. I was good. I could read. My comprehension was sky high. Like, I'm good, right? And I did pretty well for myself. But I hit a wall. right?
Yeah.
I made one or two miscalculations, right? You hit some difficulties. I went through the up and down, what you're talking about with starting the first year. I've been through, I've been through all of that.
Yeah.
But now, as a seasoned entrepreneur, I will not waste a second making a decision about hiring a coach, hiring a mentor, because there are so many benefits that come with it. And one of the benefits, as we know, Lauren, is hey, they're going to save you time, they're going to save you
Mhm.
money, they're going to transform your life and change some things. There's no reason for you to go at things alone, especially
Alone.
now in this day and age when it's so easy to find, right? To find somebody to help you in a particular area.
Yeah.
So as an entrepreneur, I highly, highly encourage you to let that ego down, right? To take off that intelligent hat that you may have as a new entrepreneur, and find somebody like a Lauren who specializes in a particular area where you need help, or where you think you might need help, and make that decision and don't think twice about it, because the benefits really can't even be calculated. And
Yeah.
whatever they're charging, but I promise you they're charging that price for a reason. Now that's a
Hmm.
whole nother conversation on how to effectively choose the right person and evaluate programs and things like that. But once you find the right one, make the decision and move on. So it's 8 o'clock. We got about five. I'll keep you for about 5 more minutes, and we'll hop off of here. So with that being said, let's see, where do we want to go? All right, we got 5 minutes. So I'm gonna ask you one question.
Okay.
Well, I might have to cut you off depending on how long you take, but
I'm
we'll get to this one. What advice do you have for people who are in a 9 to 5 and they are thinking about where they want to transition into the next phase of their life that involves entrepreneurship?
sorry. Understand that it's going to be very uncomfortable, first of all. And you need to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. You need to be okay with failing. You need to fail fast, and you need to fail forward. Um, you need to become friends with failure, but
Mm,
in a way that you learn from the failure. There's a lesson there. Not looking at it as though I failed and there's no recourse. No, there's a lesson there. There's something you were supposed to learn. Learn it so you can move on and move to the next task.
mhm.
Do not just jump from being 9 to 5 to an entrepreneur. Have a plan. And I would honestly tell you to start working on your entrepreneurial endeavors prior to leaving the 9 to 5. You want to already have a foundation and a base built. You want to have a clientele built. You want to have some people that you can already reach out to and you've already built a rapport and a relationship with, and they will come and support whatever your endeavor is. Because you don't want to go from I just quit to being an entrepreneur and you don't have any type of financial backing to support you. Another side to that is you need to learn everything you can about capital and gaining capital because you need money in order to operate a business. And that's going to be a key component. That was something that I had to really deep dive into, was understanding when everybody was talking about capital, what exactly are we talking about when we're talking about capital and what does it entail? So you definitely want to deep dive into that. But if there's a passion that lies within you, if you feel as though you are not serving your purpose where you are your 9 to 5, I would definitely suggest that you go and you do kind of a soul fast or a deep dive search within yourself to determine what it is that you want to do and what you want to accomplish so that you can make the necessary decisions and steps towards that prior to leaving the 9 to 5.
Yep, I like it. I like it. So to recap some of that, be uncomfortable. You got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. You got to fail. You got to fail fast. You got to fail forward. There is a lesson in the failure. There was something that you were supposed to learn. Capital, understanding something about capital. If you're in a 9 to 5, leverage that 9 to 5. Do your moonlighting. Start to build your business on the side. Start to build your clientele. And this is not just real estate. These are principles, right? Principles. So she may be a realtor and a coach, but she's talking principles of entrepreneurship, right? So those were some of the things. Also, doing the soul searching and figuring out what it is that you want to do. That's important too. And I'll just add on to that: be patient. And
Oh,
when you
yes.
fail, one is not it's failure in the term failure, but it's really a lesson, right? It's really a growth opportunity. And when you experience that failure, try to get past and get over that failure as quickly as possible. Definitely as quickly as possible, because it can hold you back, wallowing right in that experience and in that failure. But it's 8:04, so finally we'll close with this. How can people get in touch with you if they want to learn more about your coaching? They want to hire you as a coach. They want to hire you as a luxury realtor servicing Atlanta, right? Servicing the Atlanta area. How can people get in touch with you?
Okay, so I will give you this. I can be reached via email at realtor, the letter L, Gabrielle at gmail.com. I can also be reached, I'll actually give you guys my number, 205 547 0617. If you want to find me on social media, my IG and Facebook handle is the Lauren Gabrielle. And on LinkedIn, I am Lauren Levins. And on Twitter, I know y'all like, why do you have different handles? Because I
Give it
tried to get
all. Give
all
it
the same
all.
handles and I couldn't. At Twitter, I am at L Gabrielle Co. Okay. And
All
then I
right.
also have
Perfect.
a YouTube channel. I'm about to really start doing some things on a YouTube channel. It's called Yours Truly, L Gabrielle. But I haven't started doing anything on that yet, but I will. And yeah, if you want to learn more about the new agent blueprint, or if you want to learn anything about any additional coaching opportunities, definitely shoot me an email or find me on social media. Give me a call. I am all for conversations and just connecting with people. Love, love, love people. Love helping people.
Beautiful, beautiful. So that was the data. That's how you get in touch with her. And I'll ask her to just do us a favor and drop that in the chat of the videos, just in case, because this will replay and we get a lot of views after the fact over the next 24 hours. And we also do some promoting after the show as well. So we definitely want to make sure that everybody is able to get that information and get it as easy as possible. And finally, Lauren, I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for being a guest on our show, for helping us kick off 2022 in a very fashionable way, in a very powerful, very powerful way. You dropped a lot of gems and a lot of knowledge on us today, and I really, really appreciate you giving us a bit of your time and a bit of your knowledge. It's been wonderful talking to you, and we look forward to collaborating with you again in the future. And if you have any final words or thoughts for the audience, let us know. If not, we'll say goodnight.
Well, Kevin, I just want to tell you thank you. Thank you for providing the platform to be able to share and talk about, just the endeavors, the experience, and everything in between. It is needed. There are not enough people out here doing it. So you are greatly appreciated. And of course, any way that I can support you in the future, I definitely will do so. Listen, you guys, last final words. I just want to tell you to make sure that you guard your mind at all costs. Like that's the coup de grace to everything. Guard your mind. Okay.
All right. Sounds good. All right, everybody. Have a great night. We'll see you next time.
Bye, y'all.